Hey, and welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Journey Beyond podcast. Today, with a very special guest. I know I always say we have a very special guest, but let me tell you guys, today we have a very, very special guest. It's none of the less than one of my best friends and back in the days, old business partners, Felix Winkelmann, who was actually who actually is responsible for a big part of my personal development journey and business or professional development over the years 2017 to 2020, and we still go until this day. We've had our own podcast together that we built in 2020, starting off there, called the What the Passion podcast. And it's just an absolute pleasure because it's the first time we're actually doing something like this since we had our own podcast, right? So maybe we'll get the chance to talk about that a little bit on today's episode. But I'm super happy to introduce to you Felix. How are you doing, my man?
Yo, 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 yo. Super, super happy to be on here. First of all, big thank you to you, Tim, for having me on, hosting me on your very own show. I am so excited for you, and I love to see the progress. Everybody, before I forget it, at the end of the episode, let's do it just right now. Make sure to give it a thumbs up wherever you are seeing this podcast. Give it a subscribe for my man Tim, who's really putting in the work. He is organizing these episodes, bringing you guests, and really making sure that the whole Journey Beyond community is educated and getting even
Mm.
more in the future. So yeah, take a second, subscribe to the show, and I am so happy to be on here today and dive into some cool topics with you together.
I appreciate you, my man. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you for all the love and support. But I guess today's episode is not really about me. Of course, you're listening to the Journey Beyond
Okay.
podcast, but today it's not about, Tim on this journey, but it's actually about you, Felix. So, I mean, I know you now. You're one of my best friends. We know each other now for, I would say, 6 7 years. We go back. We've
Wow.
had
Long
incredible
time.
time together. We traveled the world together. We've been
We
speaking on
did.
stages in front of hundreds of people together. We have had, we went on private jet trips together. We had really like the time of, like, I would consider the time of my life. I spent with you building a business and just making an impact in other people's lives. So, for those of you listening right now who don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell the listeners who you are, where you're coming from, and what you do in your life, because there is a lot to talk about.
For sure. I would love to. So my name is Felix, and I am 29 years old from Germany. And in the last 6 7 years, I have been going through a personal development journey. It's the first thing I would say. I definitely went through a personal development journey. One thing that also has Tim and me connected still to this day, one thing that we are talking about almost every single time that we meet, is how to become a better person, how to grow and become a better version of ourselves tomorrow. And this is pretty much the main thing I was doing for the last years. All the
Mhm.
businesses, the brands that I've developed, and the success that I could create in the investing world and in marketing really comes down to the personal development I did over the last years. And
Mhm.
yeah, so this is pretty much what I have been doing the most in the last years to really break it down and really look for a reason why I have also been able to now become that entrepreneur that is speaking on stages around the world, that is having his community, or my community, my investment community with my people, where we are teaching people how to invest into crypto, how to invest with forex, and it's a learning platform, and we thrive to become the best when it comes to e-learning around the world. And
Mhm.
yeah.
That's incredible. That is
Should I go a
a
little
beautiful
bit deeper into
introduction.
my story on how this all came up, or should we just keep going with that?
I mean, you are someone who speaks a lot about his past, right? And I know your story because we've had countless times where we sat together and you shared your story in my presence. But I actually find it a very inspiring story, because it's the kind of like story of an entrepreneur, of someone who in German we would say he was green behind his ears and doesn't really know anything about life, about apart from enjoying it, going to your job, doing your things. Because I know as well that you're a typical skater boy, from Germany, right? That's your passion. And I'm always very inspired when you tell your story of how you went from an ordinary life and you actually you started your journey beyond to the extraordinary. So why don't you share a little
Mm.
bit about your past, and about how
Mhm.
actually you got to do what you
The
do?
journey
Because
beyond.
you're keeping yourself very low as well. I mean, you're a Web3 influencer. You are a very successful serial entrepreneur. You're building and working with teams of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people all around the world. So you're very humble in what you're saying, and I think a lot of people can benefit from that type of journey. Um, because you're not born successful. I guess you work yourself and you suffer, and you train yourself to become that person who
Hmm.
can hold the
Hmm.
space for success. So why don't you go ahead and share your journey, of how it all started out for you?
All right. So, first of all, how cool is that name, The Journey Beyond? Because we all have that journey beyond, the journey
Go
beyond
ahead.
that we're going. And my journey beyond started when I was living on my own for the first time. I turned 19. I moved to a bigger city, where I started to become a child teacher, really teaching kids and children in elementary school and kindergarten. I was doing that job for like 2, 3 years when I realized I don't want to do this for the end of my life, and I don't make enough money. I don't have enough time. So when I was scrolling through Facebook, back when Facebook was not what it is today, or I mean, Facebook had its prime. It was before Facebook's prime in
Mm-hmm.
2018 or 19 or whatever. Nowadays, it's more Instagram. But before there were influencers, there was this one guy from my school who dropped out of school in 11th grade. And I was seeing how he was traveling. He was posting stuff about mindset. He was posting about financial freedom, how important it is to have a good team, and how cool it is to be working from wherever you want in the world. And for me, this was so new, but it seems so cool because, as you said, I used to be a skateboarder, still am. Once you're a skateboarder, you can never go back. It's part of your life now. And growing up, becoming a skateboarder, being really good, and even winning some stuff on contests, but it was not so that I was becoming a pro. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to become a professional skateboarder, of course. It was my big dream, and I aspired for that life, to be time free, hang around with my homies, go around the world on contests, and just have a good time living. Right? Those guys,
Mm-hmm.
their job is skateboarding. They are having such a cool life. And this was on my mind. And this is also how I got into entrepreneurship. Not because I found entrepreneurship cool, not because I was good in sales, not because I had a good mind for marketing. There's some kids, you hear these entrepreneur stories. They're selling chocolate bars in school and on the bathroom or whatever. I was not that. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
never wanted to become
Mm-hmm.
an entrepreneur. Didn't even think about that. But when I then talked to this friend, right, he was posting, and then had a call with him. He taught me about investing, financial freedom, how to become taught me about the cash flow quadrant, right? Big stepping stone on my journey, understanding the cash flow quadrant. He told me about Robert Kiyosaki, who was explaining that in his book, that there's people who are employed, self-employed, and then there's entrepreneurs and investors, and only the entrepreneurs and investors, the right side of the quadrant, there you can become financially free. The
Mm-hmm.
investor who makes money out of money, and the entrepreneur who automates system and spends money to have more time, right? And I realized that through that phone call, and he taught me about trading and about marketing, and how there's ways to do that besides your job and start a business on your own. And I thought, wow, this could actually make me more money, make me have more time, and also more security for the future and more fun in life, like more time freedom, more geographical
Mhm.
freedom. And this is how I
Mhm.
got hooked. Nowadays,
Mm.
there's kids, they're like, and they're 13 years old on TikTok saying, yo, I want to get rich. Like, I want to become an entrepreneur. I was not like that. All I wanted to do is skateboard and have fun with my friends and live a cool life. So it was not
Yes.
because I was a fan of entrepreneurship. It was because I realized that's the only way to live life on my own terms. As I don't become a skateboarder anymore, as it was too late with 21, not having a pro contract, I was sure, okay, skateboarding is not going to make me money. So what else can
Mm.
I do to live a similar life? And this is how entrepreneurship was the
Mhm.
thing.
Interesting.
Yeah,
If you would have the chance now to go pro, would you drop everything that you do and that you have, and actually go for that pro card in skateboarding?
that's a great question. I would. If I would have the talent. I mean, I'm not, I have some talent and I'm good, but
It,
when I see my, I'm 29-year-old bro. I'm turning 30, and I'm in the
yeah,
skate
you're getting a
once a week,
boomer.
twice a week.
You're getting a
I am
boomer. Yeah.
happy when I'm landing a nice kickflip. Um, I used to be
Bro.
much better in the past, but I'm not even trying hard things because at this point I don't want to hurt myself. Right? I'm just in the park to do some laps and cruise around. This gives me the joy I want. But if I would have the skills, okay, if I would be
Mhm.
on the skill set of a pro skater, and they would give me a contract, yes, sir, I would probably
Yes,
do it.
sir.
But
Probably
also
what I'm going.
knowing the things I know in investing, right? If I would be a
Mm,
skateboarder with
100%.
a good pro contract, and on the side I would have the knowledge that I have now. You had to give me that. If you would give me also the knowledge I have
Yes.
about
Yes.
investing,
Yes.
even though let's say I make 5 grand a month as a skateboarder with some partnerships in I don't know, being an ambassador for companies, having a contract, people buying
Mhm.
my boards and doing whatever I do, um, and then investing that money into the right assets, I would still become a millionaire, even though I'm
Mm.
not the craziest skater. So if you leave me my knowledge about investing, yes, I would drop everything and become a pro skater.
Amazing. Amazing. I want to get into the topic of
Great
financial,
question.
like I want to get into the topic of financial intelligence a little bit with you later, because I know that that is your domain, that is your, like, what you've been sucking information and knowledge from in, and that's basically what you teach your team, right? But before I do that, I wanna get on the bad side of the skater community out there, because like what I love about you, bro, and this is absolutely something that I love more than anything when we spend time together. I mean, first of all, you have to know me and Felix. We usually, like, we meet on a regular basis, usually once a week, once every 2 weeks. We chill, we go outside, we play b-ball, we just have a good time together. But the funny thing is, like, once you get to his apartment, his place with his girlfriend, there's always Skate 3 running, right? And he is that type of a skateboarder pro that I know nothing about skateboarding. I'm an absolute newbie. I know nothing about it. I know no technicalities, no words, right? And he like, whenever we play, we meet, we sit down together, he puts on Skate 3 and he just starts, sliding, grinding through those parks. And then he gives me the controller. I do it, and I do something. I just randomly play, like, press any buttons. I do something with my skateboard, and he's like, "Bro, whoa, what did you do there?" And I'm like, "I have no idea what I just did there. I just turned
Bro,
my skateboard around, right?" But like, this is the cool thing about skateboarding.
but that's exactly like the gym bros. If we would go like say you're kind of a gym bro. You're not really a gym bro, but you are
Yeah, yeah.
definitely going to the gym, and you are big in when it comes to the growing your body, and I love that also, and I'm getting inspired by that myself, especially in spring and summer. We talked about this
Mm-hmm.
yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Winter doesn't get me too excited to go out and do pull-ups,
You're a seasonal
but
gym goer.
if you spend time with me in the gym, okay, And you
Mhm.
put me on the bench press, I'm putting some bench press. I know exactly. If we would go to the locker room and change, you would go like, whoa, check that press, bro. Oh, you're looking so good. Just one training? Whoa, you look so good. Bro, this is how the gym bros would go. Everybody can relate to that. If you're not that gym guy
100%.
and then you're with some gym bro and you train with them one time, they're pushing you so hard. They're like, yo,
Mhm.
man, if you would
Mhm.
keep going just for 2, 3, 4 weeks, you would see those results, man. Your body, 90 days with my training. Damn, bro, look at you right now. You're doing so great. I'm doing the bench press. Tim would go like, wow, how can you do this? So like you push your friends, and that's the same when you do some easy smooth kickflip on something on the Xbox. I'm going the same. I'm like, oh, bro, you don't even know how good you are in this game. Maybe we play together someday.
No, but that's such a cool thing. Like that's what I love about the skating community. Because I mean, you are not originally from Luxembourg, right? You're from Germany. You found your spot. You found your place in Luxembourg. And I know as well now through you that Luxembourg has one of the best skate parks in the entire world, right? And isn't that a coincidence that you met, the woman of your dreams, that you found your place here, plus you found one of the best skating parks? Isn't that a cool thing to have, right? Um, don't What would you say about the skating community here in Luxembourg? Is it a good one? Is it a good community compared to other places that you've seen?
It's a great community. Yes.
Why
It's
so?
a small one, but good people, definitely.
Hmm.
Very, very
Hmm.
talented guys. Very much talent in this park. There's a lot of the saturation of good trick selection and stuff is intense. So yeah, I would say yes. It's a cool community for sure.
That's awesome, man.
I
That
mean,
is
you've been
awesome.
there. You've been with me to the park. Tim was
I've
that
seen
guy
it.
who was checking from the sideline. Yeah, I love
I
that
mean,
you're excited about this
I'm
as
so
well. How funny
yeah,
is that?
yeah. I mean,
Personal development podcast. We talk about skateboarding. It's because it's something I'm passionate about.
yeah, bro, and I think that's the cool thing. Like everyone has his thing that he loves, and for me, I love going into people's lives and just finding out what they're passionate about and why they're passionate about it. Like I said, when I watch you skate and you jump up and the board turns around and you say like, "Whoa, you just did a 360 nose grab, hallelujah, Jesus Christ, kick flipper." I'm like, I have no idea what he did, but if he's happy, then I'm happy. That's a really cool thing to see, right? No, I think
Nice.
that's just a really nice thing that I just love observing in general. But what I wanted to get back to, because I know your entrepreneurial path has been very much ingrained with working in the financial education industry. So if you now look at the society that we're living in today, most people have two issues. A lot of them are not happy with where they're at in their life right now because they think they could be doing something more, yet they do not know maybe a way out of this typical 9 to 5 system, right? And the other part doesn't really know how to have a financial mindset to save money to then eventually be able to do something with their God given talents. Now, you as an expert coming from that field, what is like the things that you learned and that you teach your team partners, your newly starting team partners, in order to expand their mindset from where they are to where they need to be in order to fulfill their calling?
Yes. Okay. I would love to. There's two very simple keys when it comes to um, making financially smart decisions, and
Hmm.
it is one, not spending more than you have.
Hmm.
Don't take, I don't know, consumer loans, buying stuff that you couldn't afford.
Hmm.
And then two, let's say you make 3,000 a month and you just spend two, you have $1,000 left because you live a not a cheap lifestyle, but not like financially, like when you go about your cooking. When I
Hmm.
used to make less money than right now, I would used to spend more for food because I would go
Hmm.
out eat every single time. I would not
Hmm.
cook at home. Nowadays, I spend way less money on food than I used to, but I eat much better, much healthier, much nicer. And also because I found more joy in cooking, and maybe also the COVID. I don't know. Can we say that word? Is it shadow banning us?
Yeah,
Whatever.
no.
Okay, it's all
You
right.
can go. You can
Uh,
go.
the
You can go.
pandemic made me also enjoy cooking much more, of course, being at home.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
but it's so good. I recommend. This is one of the first things I recommend to people. You ask me, I'm giving you the honest truth. When it comes to setting yourself up better, this is one of the first things you do. You look, where can you save some money? You're spending more than
mhm,
you should, so where can you save it? Food. Okay, so I would go ahead and make challenges for myself. €5 a day. €5 a
mhm,
day, that's €150 per month in food. For €5 per day, you could technically eat good. Like if you buy some rice, you buy some beans, um, I don't know, pasta, tomato sauce. You could definitely have a lunch or a breakfast and lunch. Lunch is evening, yeah,
mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
For five
Lunch is
euros.
lunch
Ah,
is
mid
midday and dinner is evening. Yeah,
dinner, yes, dinner.
yeah.
So you could go about that very cheap in price, but still have some good stuff. Of course, it's not the craziest food that you will eat, but for a year to then save 150, €300 per month, and for that you can still get your nutrition if you go smart about it. Also, don't spend drinking so much sugary stuff like sugar, like soft drinks, going out and buying all these soft drinks, bro. You have water at home in your tap. Like
Mhm,
tap water also
mhm.
might not be the best, but then might go and take normal water. It's cheaper, definitely cheaper than soft drinks, and soft drinks are
So
also
like
bad for your body.
so
So yeah,
lifestyle choices. Yeah.
lifestyle choices. And then this is the first thing, not spending more than you have. And the second thing is invest that money that you have over
Mhm,
into assets. It can be an ETF, it can be a stock portfolio, it can be cryptos. Buying €100,
mhm,
€200 worth of cryptos every single month,
mhm,
and
mhm.
you don't know where you would if you would have done this 2 years ago. At this point, making this episode today, we have Bitcoin. I have it right in front of me at 43,176. Imagine you, I have it over in front of me all the time. Imagine if you would have accumulated over the last 2 years, €200 just per month at way lower prices, where you would be. So don't spend more than
Mm,
you have. Use that money that you have over and invest it. And yeah, this is pretty much how we would go. The stuff that I do is really teaching people. We don't take investments. We like the stuff that we're doing is we are an educational e-learning community, and that's what the
mhm,
people do with that knowledge. Is what they do it on their platform, on their portfolio, wherever they build
mhm,
it. What we give them
mhm,
is education for it, which is needed and
mhm.
necessary.
I think one thing that is lacking a little bit, if you look at our education system, the way we have been taught throughout our high school times, and I don't know how it was for you in Germany, but I'm pretty sure that nobody really taught you how to have a financial investment plan or a savings plan for yourself. I mean,
Hell no.
a lot of people that have economics in school, they learn how the economy works, right? They learn about demand and supply, consumerism, how to, structure a company, how to have like excess capital, how to have, how to do with that surplus, how to calculate revenue, and so on and so on. But they never really learned how to save money for themselves. And I think this is like a huge educational gap that is existing in our society, because when I left, when I left school, high school, I was like I said in the beginning, green behind my ears. I had no idea about saving money. Nobody taught me how to save money. Nobody taught me how to invest money. So what did I do for the most part of my younger 20s? I just spent every single cent that I had, right? I spend it without thinking about how can I make it back? How can I make a return from it? And I'm curious to see your strategies as well, because, with your level of success and with, the kind of like opportunities that you have created for yourself, I'm curious to see how you structure your finances. But like one book that taught me and that helped me a lot in actually gaining this understanding was actually a book by George Clason called The Richest Man in Babylon, which is a very
Great
small
book.
book. It's around like 120 pages, but it
Makes it
teaches
even
you
better.
12 principles. Yeah, makes it even better to digest. It's the first book about financial intelligence that I ever read, and it helped me a lot because it's 12 simple principles that teach you about. First thing that you said, never spend more than you have. Second thing, always put a tenth of what you earn aside and don't touch it. Take a second tenth of what you earn aside and put it into action so it generates more money, right? Like, it's simple money principles that nobody knows about and that everybody should learn. I don't know if you read that book, and what's your take on that?
I did. And I think it is the small things that you do that will make you financially more stable person and even a wealthy person. I don't know if I said it in the beginning, but we sometimes talk about that only entrepreneurs and investors can become really wealthy. That's just slightly true because being employed is definitely good. I mean, you
Mhm,
have definitely benefits from being employed, and what I recommend people is to keep your employment, stay in your
mhm,
job, maybe go part time with your job, but keep that money, and also like if you work 4 or 5 hours a day, you still have enough time to work on all your investments. But there's
mhm.
definitely people that are working in a normal job that are nowadays millionaires because they started businesses and investments on the side. There's many people
100%.
who are real estate millionaires working in a normal job
Mhm,
because
mhm,
they never spent more than a half. They took one coin and put it on the side, invested it into real estate. Over 10, 20,
mhm,
30, 40 years, you also become a millionaire. But the magical thing to see here is if you are an employee, if you have a job and on the side you work on your dreams, you work on that portfolio. Only being employed will not make you rich and not make you financially free. That should be sure.
100%.
But of course,
100%. My
building on the side, you can become a millionaire by just taking smart financial decision. And in the beginning, it's not even hard. It's not so difficult, like you said, Tim. It's the small things learned that you also learn in this book, The Richest Man in
mhm,
Babylon, to really,
mhm, mhm.
be more healthy in your portfolio.
It reminds me of the conversation that I had a couple of weeks back with Michael Mputu, where he talked about his favorite book, The Compound Effect. Because The Compound Effect by
Mm.
Darren Hardy is exactly that. It's teaching you what the power of compound interest does to you. The
Hmm.
example of, do you want €1 million right now, or do you want 1 cent doubled by itself for 30 days? It's the same thing, right? It's like
The scent.
small incremental changes don't make a difference right now in your life because you can't see what they will do to you in 10, 15 years. But putting aside €100 every single month, let that be, I don't
Yep.
know, 5%, 2%, 10%, 20%
Yep.
of your monthly income. um, you still are doing more for your financial future than the person that is investing €0 into himself.
Yes.
Um, and I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn that the hard way because I never really knew how to save. Nobody really taught me how to save. My parents saved and they gave me money, but since I didn't know how to, work with that money, I just spend it all. And I felt really
Yeah.
bad afterwards. So I had to learn um, how to teach myself discipline when it comes not only to what I do in my life, but as well about my financial sides. So what I, for example, implemented that has made all of the difference in my life. I have created a financial plan, a 3 account system where I have literally 3 areas or 3 different accounts that I use to kind of like use in my daily business, right? I have my main account where I get my salary in. That is, my main income. And from that amount in the minutes that the money enters my account every single month, around 40% of it right away go off into no, actually, sorry, 25% of it um go off into my saving account without me even seeing it. And at the same time, another 25% actually leave my account and go into my investment account. So in the moment that I have the money, at that moment, already half of my entire salary is gone. So I will have to, work for 30 days with 50% of the money that I make. Why do I do that? Because
That's
it kind
very
of
good,
teaches
bro.
me, yeah, it teaches me on one hand side to live with less and be able to work with what I have, which is really good. And by the way, you should turn your camera on as well because it's going to be a little bit difficult later with the updates. But yeah, actually, like this made all the difference for me because it helps me to enjoy what I have and not spend it on unnecessary things. Because then I have 50% left, from which 30% is right away off to fixed costs, which I have as my car, as phone bills, as Audible, Spotify, as this recording platform, my equipment here, and then the entire rest, that's just leisure, and that is there to be spent. I can save some if I want to, but that's the money that is free to my use if I want to invest it into a new microphone like this, or a new camera, or a new light, or just
It's
food.
a great microphone that you have.
Yeah, I went hard on it right away.
You invested when you bought that microphone. I knew, okay, this guy is taking it serious.
Bro, like everything that I do in life right now is I'm doing it 100% and I'm taking it serious. I know it's an investment, and I know a Shure microphone like this, it doesn't come cheap. And at the moment where I bought
it, the listeners are thanking you for it because they have such a crispy sound every time they listen into the Journey Beyond podcast that you hopefully subscribe to right now.
Ooh, and if you haven't yet,
little plug here and there.
You definitely should, because in the future you will see more like local content where Felix and me are actually chilling in the room together and having a great vibe. No, but
that would be actually funny.
That it's meant to happen, bro. It's meant to happen. But going back to you, because I mean, you talked a little bit about the cash flow quadrant. I would love you to break that down in a couple of sentences so people understand it, because some might know it, others don't. So what is the cash flow quadrant?
The cash flow quadrant is a concept that basically splits the ways to make money in 4 parts. You can be employed, you can be self-employed. This is the left side of, imagine like a quadrant, like a rectangle. On the left side you have employees. Yeah. However, and then on the right side you have investors and entrepreneurs. The right side, they are the 5% in the world. I don't know if you know, but only 5% of the economy are entrepreneurs or investors, and they control 95% of the wealth. 95%, on the other hand, are employed or self-employed, who control 5% of the wealth. Why is that? Because being employed and self-employed, you always spend your time to make money. So you trade your time, which is your most valuable good that you have. Some people don't realize it until they are old. And you use that, and you go into the job, and then in the beginning of the month, days are counted. At the end of the month, for the days you worked, you get paid. The reason why you cannot become financially free with that is, think about it. Let's say you make 20 euros an hour for 8 hours a day. And that's 40 hours per week. 20 euros times 40 is 800 a week. Times 4 is 3,200. 3,200. So let's say you want to make double that amount. What would you need to do? You would need to work not for 40 hours a week, but for 80 hours a week. This is the way how you could make 6,400. Now, you also want to sleep, right? We have 24 hours every day. It's not about the hours that you work, it's the work that you put into the hours. Yes, as an entrepreneur. But as an employed or a self-employed person, it's the hours that you work. And you have 8 hours for work, 8 hours to sleep, and to round up the 24 hours, you have another 8 hours free time. So if you would want to make double the amount as an employed person, working another job, another 8 hours, you would need to work 16 hours a day to make just double that. And let's be real, 6,000 euros to have a family, kids, you want to go to vacation in winter, inflation is hitting hard, everything is getting more and more expensive. You want to have a vacation in summer for your kids, super expensive as well, flights, hotel, all that stuff for your kids, for your whole family. You maybe want to get a second car, you maybe want to get a house. All this stuff costs money, and 6,000 a month nowadays is not the same like 50 years ago. So being on the left side of the quadrant, wanting to make double the amount that you make already, you're able to work 16 hours. That's because time is not the best thing to trade for money. That's what the financial free persons on the investor and the entrepreneur side understood. The investor is not spending his time to make money. He's using money to make more money out of it because of the stuff he knows, because of the skill set he created for himself. Investing is a skill, but investing is even more a mindset. And here's something that most people don't explain you about the cash flow quadrant. Entrepreneurs and investors, in my opinion, are both investors. The right side is only the investor side because also entrepreneurs invest. As an entrepreneur, you invest the time into different projects. When Tim and me are thinking about businesses that we do, there was one time when we did a business and I pulled out. We were almost done, almost ready to launch, and I pulled out. You remember? It was like a little shop. And the reason why I pulled out is because me as an entrepreneur, I always look, okay, let's say I invest another hour per day into this project. Will this give me the return of invest? So then I said, okay, Tim, we can't do it. Like, I have other things to focus on. And of course, you can get everything under one roof. You can get everything under one roof. And of course, as an entrepreneur, I can also take a few hours away from that one business and put it into this business. Yes. But I ask myself, will this have a return of invest? If the answer is maybe not, I'm not doing it. So this is how it would go. As an entrepreneur, you always invest. You invest your time. What else do you invest? You invest your money. As an entrepreneur, let's say you want to make an event. There's money to put up front to get the room, to get roll-ups, marketing, video. The Shopify store costs money, all that stuff. So you invest first to then make a gain, and then you can make good money with it, of course, if you play it right. What do you also invest? You invest your contacts, right? Stepping up into a business, everybody has his network. So when I get into business with someone, one thing I also invest, and what I also have on my resume, is my network. So I think about, okay, should I invest my network, the people that I know, the people that have a bond with me, into that business? So see, there's different things as an entrepreneur where you always invest, especially time and money. And this is why I think this right side is both investors. Also, the entrepreneurs are investors. So the goal should be to become an investor and have really the mindset on how to invest. And this is the way to really become financially free. This is how Robert Kiyosaki explains this. I didn't come up with a cash flow quadrant. Robert Kiyosaki did. And if you want to learn more about it, you should go ahead and read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, or there's also a book that it's named the Cash Flow Quadrant. I highly recommend it to read it. And reading this book, you will afterwards understand, okay, I'm going to keep my job. Robert Kiyosaki tells you this: keep your job, but start becoming an investor. Start turning to the right side and you should have the goal to become part of the 5%. Some people say it's the 1% that are really wealthy, but on the end, try to become part of the 5%, because if you think you want to become the part of the 1%, it's hard to motivate yourself sometimes, because you're like, whoa, there's just so few. It's just 1% who actually have this lifestyle, who are living like this. Can I even do it? And you would maybe have doubt and stop, but 5% is makeable. So become part of the 5%. Set this for yourself as a goal. Become part of the 5%, the ones that don't trade time for money, but who invest.
100%. I fully agree with you. One thing, I mean, I love, first of all, the German part of you that said Robert a couple of times now. I absolutely love that. I mean, every American would go Robert, but you're like, no, I'm German. I'm going to say Robert Kiyosaki.
I was thinking, what? Okay, Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah, Robert.
That's what I was cringing a lot, because it's, in German you have the Geissens, you have like Robert Kiyosaki. Oh. Anyway, that's an insider only. If you're German, you know. When you know, you know. No, but I fully agree with you, and I think one part that always stuck to me, and that's something that kind of bothered me, and maybe this is where actually, maybe I want to hear your opinion about this too, because one thing that the book is not talking about, it talks about, the four quadrants and where you're at and where you should move to if you want to have a more liberating life of choice and of freedom, right? The one thing that it doesn't talk about, though, is the amount of time that it takes for you to
Mm.
be on that right side. Because the right side
Yeah.
is not only there where you say, I'm going to invest my money and now I'm an investor. I'm going to start a business and now I'm an entrepreneur. Well, yes, technically that's correct. If you invest €1 into Tesla stocks, you are an investor technically. And if
Technically, yes.
you go clean your neighbor's garden and you ask money for that, you are an entrepreneur technically, right? But it usually, like, the difference there is because entrepreneurs and investors, they exchange money for more money. They have the skill set of compressing time frames, where
Yes.
instead where the average employee goes for 40 hours a week into a job that he has studied for 4 years. In order to do that job, the typical entrepreneur doesn't take 4 years of studying and going to university in order to start his business. Usually, an entrepreneur's journey takes between like 12 to 18 months of rigorous studying of a topic where you're spending money to make money, right? You're spending money so you learn a skill set in a very much compressed time frame. But
Yes.
instead of doing 40 hours a week, the beginning stages of being an entrepreneur, you're not doing 40 hours a week. You're doing 80 hours a week. You're doing 100 hours a week. You're doing the amount, like, if I remember back in the time, like in 2016 and 17, I was having literally 14 to 16-hour working days where I woke up at 6 in the morning, I left the house at 8, and I returned home after, I don't know, 25 meetings that day at 10 in the evening. I chilled and worked still and, recorded, programmed, talked to some people of team members until like 1, 2 o'clock. You go to bed and you start again. But I think that's the difference, is if you're stepping into this world of investment and entrepreneurship, there's a lot of volume to learn in a very short amount of time, because usually as an investor and as an entrepreneur, you take more responsibility and more risk than the average employee, which means that you need to know your risk management. Like, what's the investment that I take? What is it going to give me? And if you don't know that and you just spend your money, you are burning your money. It is normal to
Mhm.
lose money as an entrepreneur and as an investor because nobody is perfect. Even a Warren Buffett started off with making a couple of bad trades, right? But
Oh, he still
Berkshire
is.
now, yeah, he still does. He still makes a lot of losses now. But for the majority of his wins, they make him billions and billions of dollars, right? So how has your past been? Like, once you started out 7, 8 years ago, how did your time frame compressive journey look like? Like, how was that for you? Because I guess you learned some skill sets and you had to learn them in a very short amount of time to be able to make money, right? How did that look for you?
Hmm. So you are touching a very, very good point there. People don't know the work that it takes to go into a successful business.
Hmm.
And most people, the first business they start won't even be the successful one that's making them a millionaire. Often it's about making many, many mistakes. And this is the thing, it's not just the time, it's especially the mistakes, because there's people who are who are working on a business or on their they're working on their journey beyond, okay, business wise, for three
Hmm.
years and they still don't even have they don't even have the $10,000 a month in, like, they can't even, it's not even in their reach. They can't even look at it. It's not even in their reach. Even being in business
Hmm.
for 3 years, people working every day, a normal job, and another 6 hours a day on their business, still not going forward, reading books, listening to podcast audios, still not going. And I think it's because they did not go for the mistakes. Fail forward. This is
Hmm.
maybe a topic that we can deeply go into now because it's such a big one. I don't know if it was covered on your podcast yet, but failing forward is so important. And just today in the morning, I, oops, I was screenshotting a nice slide here. The people that are I don't know if people can see the video someday, but looking like this is like a chart, and a little bit you learn from theory, a little bit more you learn from doing, and the most you learn from mistakes.
100%.
And this is what it comes down to. Not just spending that time, but especially failing forward and actually making those mistakes that you will learn from.
Progress is pain. The
Yes.
price of progress is pain.
And unfortunately, making mistakes is something that growing up, we don't get incentivized for. When we make mistakes in school, we get looked at weird, we get a bad mark. Instead of, and there's teachers that are making a great job teaching the kids when they made a mistake, applauding them for it, being like, yo, great that you did this mistake, let's learn from it. But most teachers, unfortunately, they are like, you did a mistake, you didn't learn enough, not good. And we do this concept for like 10 years, 12 years in school. And then we come out with 18, 19, and now we should go forward making mistakes. People don't really try that. People are not really in for that, to make now a lot of mistakes. Coming out of school, you think you shouldn't make mistakes, but you should. You should make mistakes because you will learn from it big time.
You refrain from starting something or anything because of the potential rejection and criticism that you might receive that hasn't even happened yet. And that is the reason why you're not even trying to do something with it.
Yes.
I think that is like, I think a lot of people listening right now, they've had a moment where they wanted to start something. They had an idea, but they're like in their head, man, what if this doesn't work? Like my parents are going to criticize me. My friends are going to think that I'm stupid. My girlfriend is going to like break up with me, or my partner. And that's why they never start, because their demons in their head haunt them about a future that has not even happened yet, which is kind of condemning them to a life that they never really wanted.
Wow. And all those things that they come up with that could happen, most of the time they don't even happen. They wouldn't even happen. They make the fear up in their head. But that's a whole nother topic, what you're scratching now.
Sure.
What I was meaning is making mistakes on your journey. What you say is the reason why most people don't even start their great ideas is because of thinking I will make a mistake and fail in the first place. It's another story, but you're also so right. This is what it starts with. 100%. This is why most people don't even start making, because they're afraid of making mistakes. But I want to encourage you to fail forward and go ahead and make these mistakes. What if it fails? Doesn't matter. You try something else. You do it again. Whatever you can do. You're young. Like Gary Vee likes to say it. Meeting someone who's like 40, who's telling him, yeah, but I'm old. And he's like, you're young. You're 40? You're young. You can still become the greatest entrepreneur known to mankind if you start after 40. This is the mindset that Gary Vee has. But going back to your question, if some listeners are now thinking, wait, he didn't even go into the years. It does take years, like you said. Just to cover it before I forget it, it takes a lot of years. It takes mistakes that you do throughout these years, but especially investing takes even more years to learn than entrepreneurship. Because we also talk about investing, man, it takes 2-3 years, I would say, to get the mindset. You can become a trader technically within a few weeks. You can learn a skill. You can understand the terminology. You can understand how to enter a trade and stuff pretty quick. Also, you can learn a strategy, a checklist on when to enter a trade, looking for this, that, this, and this indicator. Okay, now I can go into a trade. You can also learn that in a week or in a month or in 3 months. But actually having an investor mindset, taking the emotions out, knowing when to stop trading for the day, when to take out a position, taking the greed out takes 2 years to 3 years. And that's what I had as a realization just a few weeks ago. What I didn't know in the beginning, being a greenhorn in an investing world myself, also starting to help others understand it. this is one aspect that just came across my mind. Now being in for 6 years, I realized, it actually took me 3-4 years to finally trade on a level where I take my emotions out. And we are so programmed on this attachment to money that it just not works. You can have your trading journal, you can have your coach sitting with you telling you exactly, you will still lower that stop loss because you think, oh, what it might go up again. It won't. On your checklist, your stop loss is reached, you go out. You lost 5% for today, you don't trade anymore. And even knowing this and reading these books and listening to these audios, you still enter another trade. Even though you have it on your checklist that after 5% loss for the day, you don't go into one more trade, you will still do it. Unless 2-3 years go by and you understand, I need to listen to my rules, and it's all that this takes about. Like, this is the most important thing. Stick to your rules. You have this and that take profit, you go out. You made 5%, 10% profit that day, you also stop. The rookie would now go into even more trades. Oh, but it's looking good today. I'm going to go into some more trades. Bam, big loss.
Yeah.
It would happen like
Systems,
this.
frameworks.
So the entrepreneurship journey takes, like you said, 18 months of mastering really a skill and going deep into it. The investing journey, it takes you 32 months, or no, it's wrong, 36.
I mean, what I'm saying is that
36
what I'm saying is
3
that
years.
it doesn't take 18 months for you to become a professional. It takes you 18 months to know the basics
Yes.
and start scrabbling around, right?
Yeah.
The journey of entrepreneurship and of investorship, it's a lifelong journey.
It is, bro.
It's a
3 years.
lifelong
3
journey.
years is, what I'm saying, bro, is even stupid. 3 years is not even right, bro. It's 10 years. It's 15 years. You are 30 now. You're getting into investing. With 45, you're gonna really know what you're doing right there, and you're gonna really have fun with it. But you need to be patient. 10, 15 years it will take. Entrepreneurship the same. Even if you are making 100 grand a year with your company right now, and it's looking kind of good, you don't even know where you are 10, 15 years from now, when you are having multiple businesses. You sold maybe a business, a company, you're having crazy good partnerships. This will be the moment where this all made sense. So give it 10, 15 years. You got to give it that time. You got to commit for a really long time. You have the long-term vision. The long-term vision is so important, and most people just don't have it.
What I find beautiful, and I think this is the main takeaway, because you know me, Felix. You know how I always have like a very philosophical approach to concepts, right? I guess that's just me. Like, you start talking to me about I don't know, a simple topic, and then I start talking about God and about the existence or meaning for this, right? But one thing that I learned, or that I took from our conversations and our the time that we worked together, from that e-learning platform and from trading itself, from Forex and how to analyze the markets, there's one concept that stood by me because I found it so profound and so beautiful as a reference to life, is that on a chart, when you're looking at the technical analysis of a chart, like, let it be any forex pair, any crypto pair whatsoever, right? You have indicators. If you really zoom out on higher time frames, you really have the macro vision of things. You know the starting point of something, and if there is historical data, you know the finishing points of a sequence. You know from historical data that it will start somewhere and it will end in the long run, on the bigger picture, at a certain point. You know that you will arrive there. It's inevitable. You will arrive there at a certain point, but everything that is happening in between is 100% uncertain and up to luck, up to too many different criterias. And I always took that example and I implemented it for life, because if you start on your journey to entrepreneurship, or you want to learn everything when it comes to financial intelligence, starting is already setting your final point in the future, right? You know that if you start and you just continue and commit to 1% a day, a little bit every single day, a little tiny bit, baby steps every single day, inevitably you will reach that point. There is 100% guarantee that you will.
Yeah.
Just what happens in between and when you reach it and how fast you reach it, that is completely up to you and, other circumstances such as luck out there.
Well,
There,
yeah,
there,
or maybe even something is already like the destiny is already written. Like I sometimes believe that there is certain
mm,
things in life that happen because they should happen, and you can't do
mhm.
about it. And sometimes it's because it tests you another time. I wouldn't say it's only because how quick you can make it.
Sure, sure. Destiny. I mean, if you say that you believe in destiny, I do too. I definitely believe that some people are meant to have more luck in their life because it's their path,
Mm-hmm.
and some people are meant to have a little bit less luck, whatever you define as luck, right,
Mm-hmm.
in their life. Um, One concept though that I find very interesting and important for us, and I think for the kind of um, age demographic that is listening to us right now, because probably most people listening to right now are like in their beginning mid 20s and 20s, beginning 30s, right? Um, could be that there's a little bit above that, but that's just, from the data that I see, that's the kind of demographic that is listening right now. And some of them are in entrepreneurship, and we both know them, right? Some of the listeners are here are in entrepreneurship, and they want to make things happen. They really desperately want to become successful. They are running after this image or this freedom or this financial safety, security, whatsoever. Yet they you know they push their life into such a field of anxiety, of being scared of not being able to make it, because they think it's not going fast enough, because just because they've been doing it now for 3 4 years means that it's not going to happen. It's been
Yeah.
taking too long. You're 25 and you see other 25-year-old guys driving in the Lamborghinis in Dubai, and making like
Mm.
millions of
Mm-hmm.
euros,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you look at that, and I think that's a problem with social media. Actually, a big problem is that we consider the exceptions of the world as the standard for our mind,
Yes.
and because we see them as the standard, we become anxious that we are not good enough, that we don't make it because we're 27 now and they're 25 and we haven't made it yet, right? And I learned for myself, and I'm really curious about, because
Mm-hmm.
you are in that world much more than I am, in this world of have been in the world of social media and like seeing other people around you being successful. um, you really have to let go of that, because you know that
Mm-hmm.
if you just continue, and from what we just said before, if it's written in stone, maktub, they say in The
Mm-hmm.
Alchemist, maktub, if it's written, um, then you will become successful. You just have to detach yourself from that time frame, because maybe your success, maybe your destiny is written at the age of 35. You're gonna, pop the right business, and all of a sudden you're gonna become a multimillionaire within 12 months, right? But until that time, are you patient enough to pull through? Are you consistent enough to pull through? That is the better question here. How do you react to that? Because you've been on it for quite a while now. And I
Yes.
know that we have, even back in 2017, we had talks of like, bro, 2 years and then like multimillionaires and let's travel the world, let's get some nice cars, like nice watches and so on. But, 7 years later, um, we're not where we said we wanted to be. But I guess we're much, much better than where we said we wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be.
Yes. So there's two things to consider here. One, most of being, as you said, being in that a little bit deeper than you, I also know a little bit more of the insides. And the
Mhm,
first thing I can tell you about the 25-year-olds driving Lamborghinis, they're most likely rented. Okay.
mhm,
Most of the stuff you say, you see the the exceptional stuff on social media, and it's also the fake stuff. Most of the stuff is not even real. And I mean, if you understand this, it gives you a whole new perspective and you stop comparing yourself too much. And this is point number two.
mhm,
The comparison is the root of all evil. Not the money is the root of all evil. Comparing yourself to others online is the root of all evil. This is so bad.
mhm,
It doesn't bring you anywhere. Your chapter 3 and this person's chapter 20, you can't compare, right? Some people, some kids that actually are very successful, they started very early on, right? They're doing this since they're 11 or whatever. Like skateboarders, the same. There's some kids start skated with 6. I cannot compare myself to that kid, right? Another thing is your environment. Some of the kids that are really let's just name it, the 25-year-olds that are super successful really are millionaires. Let's say their Lambo is not rented. Those kids, they had also different circumstances when they started. They had different their personal story was already different. Their education was different. Some of them come from a background of entrepreneurs and investors in their family. Some of these people come from money. Some of these people just did have not these distractions like you had, that you first had to disconnect yourself from the distraction that you had to first cut. So all that comes into the picture. You need to understand, don't compare yourself. Your speed is also a different speed than yours. Like, same as all the other factors I did. It's also different. So please, if you hear this right now, stop comparing yourself to others. You on your own journey. Your journey is probably even more beautiful than the other person's journey. And you need to understand this. And second, most of the stuff on the social media is fake. It's fugazi. It's not real. And it's just meant there to distract you. I can highly recommend you to disconnect from apps like Instagram, because most of the time you're just looking at people showing their best of their best days, never their worst days. And if you have not the strongest personality, you compare yourself with that, and you think your life is boring, your life is bad.
Mhm.
It's not, right? It's not. And yeah, your life is beautiful. You have a great journey. You should continue that, and you should stop comparing yourself once for all.
Yeah, and I think this is another cool thing if you're spending a lot of time studying other people, because there is this concept in NLP called modeling, where back in the 1970s, Gestalt therapists, psychologists, and linguists, they got together and they asked themselves, so what is it about successful people? What is it about successful people that makes them successful? And can their success be copied? Can, if we do exactly what they do on a daily basis, can we have the same success that, those people have? And it might seem weird and confusing because you are not them and you can never be them. But the principles that they've learned along the way, and a lot of times it's usually one or two principles that you learn that make all of the difference above all of the other 20, 30, 40 principles that you learned, try to implement, and failed. There's usually one or two that will make you successful and will make all of the difference. So in the modeling world, is you basically take the life of any person that you want. Let's say, for example, now you take Alex Hormozi. Right, Alex Hormozi, for those of you who don't know him, is a serial entrepreneur, founder and co-founder of Gym Lounge, and he, for example, if you would want to be or have the same success as Alex, study him. I always recommend to people, instead of reading too dry of books, take people in history that have had major impacts in the world, in history itself, and on society. People like Marcus Aurelius, people like Carl Jung, people like Alexander the Great, like really in the ancient times, or Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, or even more frequent ones, Marie Curie. These people, read their autobiographies and learn about their life. Learn and understand that their success is based upon the circumstances they have been brought under. Let it be a French Revolution where there is no money, there's hunger. Let it be
nice example.
Being born to an emperor family where you're already the king of everything and you're being given the throne and you're being lifted to the status like Alexander the Great, where you're constantly being pushed on a throne, that you are the king and the emperor of the entire world. So of course you start thinking like that. So if you look at those people and what they did and where they came from, it makes a lot of sense. But if we only look at social media, at our phone, and you see someone driving around with 23 and in their Lamborghini, you're thinking for yourself, like, I'm a failure. Like, I'm 27 now and I'm not doing what he does, and I haven't done it yet. So I'm a failure. I must be a failure. Well, but what if their parents or his parents are actually doctors, and they live in Dubai, and They maybe have an apartment there where he's living in, and the dad is actually driving the Lamborghini, so it's daddy's car. Just as an example, right? But we don't know. We don't know. And a lot of times, funny enough, a lot of times once we get into that, once we dig a little bit deeper, we understand, so that's why. So this is why, right? And it's not there to say like, all right, everybody doesn't deserve his success. No, not at all. You, within that process of understanding what someone has been going through, and there are examples where people came from nothing and they become multi millionaires, for sure.
And maybe
There, I would
maybe this was even their lotto ticket. This is also a thing. Some people
100%.
come from rich families. Some people, they come from a really bad background, which motivated them way harder to go really crazy and make mistakes compared to others. So
100%.
also this could be a perk.
100%. And I think, like giving two examples right now, like Mike Tyson and Kimbo Slice. I know you said it yesterday. Funny
Kimbo
enough,
Slice.
just out of the boxing world, right? If you want to have their success because they became quite successful, you wouldn't be able to because you didn't grow up in like their neighborhoods. You didn't go to prison, and you didn't experience the things they did. Does that mean you can't be as good as them, if not even better? For sure you can, but don't hold on to their story. So getting back to modeling is basically the idea of looking at somebody's life and looking at the principles, frameworks, ideologies, values, and beliefs that this person holds. And what if I now, for example, would take all of these things and would start learning and adapting them, right? Picking the best fruits out of his life and copying one by one what he does on a daily basis, copying his morning routines, copying his supplementations, copying his daily methods of operation, copying his sleep rhythm. If I would copy exactly, and that's the beauty of modeling, if I would copy exactly what this person does, I can have the same results as that person by simply learning from the right fruits. And I think this is where personal development gets interesting, because we learn. I mean, if you look at your phone right now, who you're following on social media, Felix now, right? You can look up on your Instagram right now. I'm following like 160 people, and I know it's like 40 entrepreneurs that I aspire. I don't need to study and be every single one of them, but I look at their life and I look at their principles and I pick the best fruits for my own life, and I just accept that I don't know how long they took. I will take as long as it takes. If it's 10 years, if it's 5 years, if it's another year until I pop, if it's 20 years, I don't care. But I'm becoming better and I'm learning from the best in the world and just picking all of the fruits that I need. And I think that's, to summon my point up, is the beauty of being able to live in a world as we're living in today, because you have unlimited access to knowledge to become anything you want to in life. You just need to be willing to have a look, take the time, and invest into your own education.
Amen. Personal
Amen.
growth comes from investing into your personal growth. And it's the best investment you will ever make. You are the stock that you can actually have a 100x. Don't look for that meme coin, for that crypto. Don't look for that, I don't know what, that will make you maybe 1,000% return. You are the meme coin that's going to make you that 1,000 million% return.
You're the Pepe USDT. Just go
You
for it.
are
Go
the
moon,
Dogecoin. You are the
Dogecoin. And you just have to keep on rolling until Elon Musk chills you.
Yeah, no. But great point. Super, super interesting stuff. I definitely want to go more into this concept or this theory about like what you just talked about, the reasons for the success of many super successful people. I want to have a deeper look into that. As you can see, there's a huge library in my background, not so huge as I would like it to be. I would need another shelf on top with the same amount. And I definitely I'm gonna read even more this year because it's really about reading these stories and these theories from people who have been where you want to be, and who have lived that life that you want to live, who have gained that knowledge that you want to gain. So it excites me even more nowadays to read something like biographies of people who are hyper successful, and I can learn from. Some of these books just cost 12 euros, 20 euros. And they put all the knowledge they have in there. They put their lifelong
Mm-hmm.
journey in there that you can learn from, which is incredible.
It's
So cheap
insane,
for
man.
what you
It's
can get
insane.
with a good book.
Plus, it's interesting. It's interesting to read about these people because you always just hear from like certain, I don't know, reels or videos or documentaries like this Alexander the Great, Marcus Aurelius and his meditations, right?
Yeah.
But if you actually dig into their life, like they had super interesting lives. Like I love reading autobiographies. They're some of my favorite books to read. Um, Felix, name me your top three books that you've
Top
ever
three.
read. And yes, and then additionally, top three books that you've ever read globally. And then I would love to hear your two favorite financial intelligence books.
Mm-hmm.
So we're giving some
Okay.
resources out here today.
Should I look at, like, take the books here, or should I just like name them from my head?
If you have them there,
Let me
go
just.
for it. Sure, sure. Do what you got to do.
You
Do
know
what you got
what?
to do, man.
You
Do
know
what you got to
what?
do.
The first thing, overall book is called Managing Oneself. It's a very small one. I like the small books, not too long. Peter Drucker, yellow one, super, super good stuff on managing oneself, yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a different way of way they learn, a different way of approaching things, and you have to understand this for yourself. The second thing that's definitely on the list is The Secret. The Secret by Rhonda Burns. You maybe know the movie on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. If you have the subscription, read the book. It's about the law of attraction, the fact that our thoughts become things. And
Mm-hmm.
as weird as it sounds in the beginning, as I don't know, in the past I would have said, in my child I would have said it's some esoteric crazy stuff, of course, like
Mm-hmm.
nerds thinking that their thoughts become reality. But
Mm-hmm.
um when you read it, when you watch the movie, there's some small practices that you will do in your life. For example, there you have this one example. If you go to your job or to the grocery store, attract the parking spot. Attract the parking spot. I have a parking spot right in front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I have a parking
Mm-hmm.
spot right in front of the house. The right wording, and you actually have that, right? It kind of works, and it's
Mm-hmm.
weird. It's really weird, and um, it really shaped the way I think. And I'm so happy that I read this so early on my journey. In my second or third week, I came across that movie. My mentor told me I need to watch that, so I did, and it changed the way I think drastically. It's not a book
Mm-hmm.
about business. It's not a book about finance, but it's such a crazy principle. It's called The Secret because it's the secret of the world class, of the really rich. And in the last years, meeting many, many highly successful entrepreneurs, multi millionaires, successful athletes, successful musicians, believe me or not, they all know about it. They
Mm-hmm.
don't share it on social media. They don't post about it. They don't brag about it. When you tell them, hey, you believe your thoughts become things, your reality, like 99% will say yes. That's how I got to my success. People like Conor McGregor, maybe you have seen this clip of him like talking about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Many people know about it. So I would definitely put it, even if it's it's the love tricks. It's a secret. For some people, they think it's a weird book. They have read this title. They think, oh, what is that? Go ahead and read it. It's definitely on my top 3 list. And the third one is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, also going over the principles of the successful people. And Napoleon Hill has really took all the years that he spent with, back then, the richest person in the world, Andrew Carnegie, who was, now he was still, I think, calculated with the inflation and stuff, he would still be richer than the richest man nowadays. He was
Yeah.
the biggest in the steel industry in the USA, and Napoleon Hill was following him around, and he was then also meeting other very successful people, and he wrote that book. So Think and Grow Rich is definitely the third one. Managing Oneself, The Secret, Think and Grow Rich, all here in the bookshelf. But I thought it might take a few more seconds or a minute to grab all of them. So I wanted to save some time. And now the second question about the top finance books. It's a good one. Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. As Tim wants me to say it, not Robert Kiyosaki. And then the second one, is it The Richest Man in Babylon? Oh, there's so many good books. Finance books. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah. It's a German one. It's called Trading Psychology. And this is probably the best book you can read if you want to become a day trader. By Norman Welz. Norman Welz, Trading Psychology is a thick one, but it's so important because the psychology in investing is the most important. It's really the big thing, and you learn about this in this book the best. And the English version of it is called Trading in the Zone.
Yeah,
that's
that
it.
one. I think I've read the English version of it.
But I want to give the question back to you, bro. I'm curious. If you ask me, I want to ask you, what are your top 3 books that you definitely want to share today with everybody?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would add to that, because I think today's episode kind of like entangles in the realm of entrepreneurship, financial intelligence and everything around. I think the books that you've mentioned already, like I've read all of them and they're my literally all-time favorites. I only have one more book that would come to my mind right now that really helped me a lot as well, of like, managing oneself is incredible because it teaches you principles about being able to get your shit together. But when it comes to the financial realm, like how to set up multiple bank accounts and how to have a money flow system, how to manage your time wisely and effectively, how to learn new crafts, is the book by Benjamin Graham, The Intelligent Investor. It's
great.
It's actually a book. It's actually a book that inspired Warren Buffett a lot as well. Yeah, it's incredible.
Benjamin Graham.
One of my favorites.
I have also another one I want to share. It's I just had it on my mind. Wait. The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Also a really, really nice one.
Dean Graziosi.
No, some other author. I have it on Audible. I don't have it as a book. I have it on Audible. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
A Millionaire Success Habits. That's Dean Graziosi. My bad, I confused it. But yeah, I think this is like the most important thing. What we want to give here is, because some people who are listening right now, you're probably thinking, well, I'm working already on myself. I want to become like an artist, a videographer, whatsoever. I'm really good at what I do. I'm really good at my craft, but I just don't know how to improve my finances. I just don't know how to create extra streams of income. I don't know how to, right? And the don't know how to is literally the journey that we are taking you on here, the journey beyond the ordinary. Like conversations like these that we're having with Felix or with, Jordan, that launched 2 weeks ago. Like these episodes, they're really teaching us what is behind the ordinary. What does that life of the extraordinary look like? And I think providing resources like this will make all of the difference in your life, right? I loved so far our conversation that we had here together, Felix. And I know we could be talking for hours, and I know we will. Because like this, I had in my head around like 5 major topics that I wanted to talk with you about, like parts about
we didn't
you
even
that
talk
I
about
find
them.
really inspiring.
Let me guess. We didn't even talk about them.
We talked about one. You know what I mean? But this is the beautiful thing. So I know definitely that we will have a second, third, fourth, fifth round on this, hopefully next time in person. But before I let you off, I have 2 more things. 2 more things before we end today's episode.
We don't end this yet now,
great.
guys. You have to keep listening or you can keep listening for another 10-15 minutes, because we're not close to done yet, bro. I have also something to do with you at the end of the episode. I told you yesterday I have a present.
Yes.
But yeah, go ahead with your 2 things before.
Yes. And what I'm going to do right now. Okay, ich habe 5% Akku. Gib mir gerade eine Minute, ich gehe mein Kabel holen. Ich habe jetzt eine Pause gemacht, damit wir gerade einen Cut haben, okay?
Okay.
Weil ich habe 5% Akku, deswegen wollte ich gerade Schluss machen, weil ich so bin, wenn das gleich abscheißt, dann habe ich ein Problem.
That's okay.
So, I'm back. And we are
Okay.
back, Mr. Felix Winkelmann. So, actually, um, so the first thing that I wanted to talk or that I wanted to say before I'm done with my part, because I don't know what you still have on your plate, but
Mm-hmm.
first thing is, Felix, I mean, you're such an inspiration to a lot of people out there. You already have a great following, and you have, you know, your community that will probably listen to this as well. But for those of you who don't know you and who found like some of the things that you said quite inspiring and who want to know more from you, where can people find you? How can people connect with you? And what are some of the plugs that you can leave right here that I'm going to link below, where people can know more about you and your life, your business, and how to work with you?
All right. So one thing is the biggest plug that I want to give you is to connect with Tim and to subscribe to this podcast. Again, this was the third plug of this day. If you haven't subscribed yet, you probably won't subscribe anymore, and never will. But I'm going to be on here in the future as well. I mean, you're going to hear more from me, hopefully, on the Journey Beyond podcast. But other than that, you can take a look on my Instagram. I'm not too active anymore on Instagram. But if you want to connect with me, you can text me there. Be aware of fake accounts. There is some people impersonating me, which is so stupid because I'm not that famous. But yeah, make sure you get the right Instagram. It's just my name in without any underscore, just like first name, last name in one word, and yeah, no letter double or something. Just simple small letters, my name, and then and then yes, that's pretty much it. That's where you can connect with me, and yeah, I mean, I'm not
Twitter?
sharing any. I'm not sharing. Yeah, but that's not going into the leadership brand. That's like completely different.
Okay,
What I'm
that's
doing
for
there.
next episode. That's for next episode. Yeah,
Yeah, if you want, if you can stay tuned to learn about that. Yeah.
sure.
Um, and then yeah, I mean, all the investing group that I like with my washing machine is going crazy right now. 1 second. Oh. Okay, I'm back. Where did we stop? The plug. I don't know if you cut this
Yeah.
or if you just keep this running, but yeah, Instagram, you can find me. I'm not sharing any investment content or trading education outside of my personal community. So yeah, if you want to join my community, go ahead. You can ask me, and we can have a chat. We can talk about it, me and my team, and then see if you are eligible to be a part of our community. And yeah, really go into your financial freedom journey and trading journey. But it's the only way to also see me on calls. I am not doing any live streams for free or stuff. Only thing I'm doing is I'm here with my friend Tim and sharing some moments with him on the podcast. But outside of that, I'm not really online giving out free content. You got to be part of the group. That's just the hard truth. That's how it is.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's
Yeah, man. And
go. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys.
everybody should
I don't
actually
even
reach
want
out
to
to him.
plug anymore.
Cool. Good.
Yeah, if you
Good.
want,
Because people,
if you look
if they
for,
want to find you, they will find
if you
you.
look for, yes, if you want to find me, you will find me, and yeah, you can do that through my Instagram. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm not
Bro,
so super
last
public with my information that I
last
give out.
last question.
Mhm.
Last question from my side, and
Yeah.
then I let you have your present and do whatever you wanted to
Oh.
do. This is a question, and for those of you who have listened to my recent my recent interviews, they know that this is the last question that I always finish with. I love the question
Mm.
because it's a very deep one. It helps one to reflect, but it helps one as well to kind of appreciate the journey that he has been on so far. So, Felix, if you would now be standing in front, or if you could now share one piece of advice to your younger self, one piece of advice that you know now that you didn't know back then, but if you would know it,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been made all the difference for you. Plus, if other people would
Mm.
listen to that advice, it would make a massive difference in their life. What is that one advice that you would tell your younger self?
Hmm. Okay, I won't go so easy like saying buy Bitcoin, but that's what I would tell my younger self. Go ahead
Uh,
and buy Bitcoin, bro. But outside of that, to just try and don't be afraid. Think about what could go good, not what could go wrong. There's some things that probably I also didn't do or didn't pursue in my business, or a step that I went forward because I was afraid of the outcome. It's definitely one
Mhm,
thing. And then invest. But the Bitcoin is not even so far off, because thinking back, and if I would do it again, I would do it the same way again, to
mhm,
build a business in that field and to grow personally like that. But I didn't even spend much, but I also didn't invest so much. Like, uh,
mhm,
I was never like spending so much money, super much money. But I would try to live even cheaper and be able to invest more. Like, really, in your
mhm,
20s, don't live big. Live as small as you can. Go buy good food, but not expensive food. Don't go out too much. Hustle. Stay in the zone, and be able to spend to not spend but invest as much money as you can
mhm.
every single month,
Very good
investing and
exercise, a
compounding,
very good
because that's
exercise.
5 years of compound, right? If I would have
Mhm,
invested more 5 years ago, it would be, instead of just starting to really invest 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I would have had even 2 3 more years of compound, which is big, makes a big difference
mhm.
at the end of the 20, 30, 40, 50 year investment run. 2 3 years will make a
100%.
difference.
100%.
So
Cool.
invest.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. I love that advice. I love today's episode. And, you didn't believe me when I said 1.5 hours easy. And you said, no, whoa, really, bro. Look, we've been going
Wait,
now
how
for
long
one
are
and
we
a half
going?
hours. 1.5 hours,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah. And we could have gone much, much longer. So now
I mean,
I
you
let
touched
you
one
do.
thing of the points.
Right? That's how good we know each other, and that's how much there's still left to be discovered. But bro, you
Yes.
to finish this off, you said you have a little thing for me, so I'm curious. I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious what it
Mm-hmm.
is, and I think yes, I'll let you go. I'll let you go for it.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, it's a quick little present that I have for you. Some cool exercise. It's I call it the Legendary Five. And the Legendary Five, I'm gonna give you a category. Okay, this is for you now, Tim. This is for the viewers,
Mhm,
for the listeners to laugh a
mhm,
little
mhm.
bit, or to find out more about Tim. Um,
Ooh.
in some way, it's a fun way to end the episode. I wanted to bring something like this.
Mhm,
So the category is red flags of women. I know that you are also on your Instagram, on your social media, the journey beyond motivation. I don't know if you plug that, but I think you do.
Not entirely,
You're
no,
talking
no,
about
not here, but I get It's okay. You can plug it. It's cool. I mean, people know
Oh,
that it
okay, okay.
exists.
But there's one
Yeah.
video. There's one video that went very viral, which was
Mm-hmm.
also about toxic man and woman, and it seemed like there's a big community. And you were giving also great advice and great comments on that in the comment section.
Mm-hmm.
And you can cut that if you want, if you don't want to plug that. But
No,
anyways,
no.
the
Let's go.
category is, you like it, okay. The category is red flags of women, okay. And I'm gonna give
Mm-hmm.
you 5 red flags, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to put them in an order from 1 to 5. But I don't give you all of them at the same time. I give you one by one, and you have to try to place them in the right order. Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
So there's 5 different red flags, and you have like one is the worst. Like you would like leave the room and go crazy if this would be a woman that you date.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay,
5
let's
is
go.
like 5. The 5 is like, okay, we might still make a match. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give
Mm-hmm.
you all of them at once,
Mm-hmm.
just one by one, and you put them in the right order for you. Okay.
Let's go.
Are you ready? Okay. So the first
Yeah.
red flag is the woman smokes a pack of cigarettes every single day.
Okay.
Is it a 1 or 5?
Should I say
How
it
bad it
now
would be?
or do I give it to you afterwards?
Yeah, you need to say it now. That's the tricky thing about this game. You need to say it now without knowing the others. So you could put this
Okay,
on the 1, but there could be way worse.
yeah, I would say smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. For my own, I would give that a 3. I would give that a 3 because
Okay.
there's worse.
Okay.
There's worse. That's middle field.
Okay, you're going cool because you
Yeah.
know
'Cause I
that
know
there's
what's
some
there.
worse coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this on 3. I'm gonna note that. Smokes a pack of cigarettes every day is on 3. Okay.
Mhm.
What about she plays Fortnite every single day?
To be honest with
Is
you,
it bad
that's
at all?
a
Maybe
5.
she's a professional
No,
Fortnite player.
that's a 5. I mean, everybody should have their thing that they like to do to take some time
Cool.
off after they've done their stuff, right? So 100% that's a 5. That's totally fine for me.
Yes. Okay. Nice.
If
Cool.
the rest
girls,
is still in harmony, you know?
yeah. If there's a Fortnite
the
playing
rest is
girl
in
on here,
harmony.
still got chances. So the next thing is she goes out with her friends every weekend. Just with her friends,
So
not taking you with her. What?
Say that again. Say that
She
again.
goes out with her friends to party every weekend without you.
That's a definite 2 for me.
That's a 2, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's just a
no, the next
personal
thing
that's
is
just a
also
personal thing for me.
why? Why is that? Why? So it's pretty bad for you. You don't like it at all.
No, I mean the thing is, if you want to go party, well, I mean this is my personal opinion, right? If you want to go party every single weekend, you definitely don't have, and this might sound rough. You probably don't have anything better to do in your life than just to go party, get drunk, spend time with friends, and do anything else but actually taking care of your life and yourself. So for me, that's a pretty like red flag, because that means there's a lot that you're running away from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have it at 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I only have
the next
1
one
and 4
is
left now.
yeah. I love the last one that I'm gonna give you. So I'm gonna give you another one before. She's a 10, but she puts milk before her cereals.
I can live with that. That's a 4. That's a 4. That's a 4.
Okay,
That's
that's
definitely
a
a
4.
4.
So what was bad? Plays Fortnite is even less worse. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's okay.
But
I can live with that. That's
but it's
one where
weird.
I would
It is
say
weird. It
you
is
may
very
be
weird.
excused. Bro, I eat
But
my
it's weird that
cereals
she
with
puts
orange
milk.
juice. So
Or
I
are
mean, you know,
you put cereals and then milk, right?
I could be called out for that as well.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you again.
Yes. Good. I said
Okay.
I said that I'm having my cereals with orange juice. So that could be something which you could red flag as well as a woman, right? So
You do what?
exactly. See, that's a
This
red
is
flag for some other people, but that I
that's
love
a
it.
crazy confession at the end of this episode. Okay.
Bro, it's
No.
a game changer because it's compressing my time frames. It's like I'm having my glass of orange juice in the morning and my cereals all at once.
Wow.
It's the best.
You're really
It's
big
the
on
best.
compressing time frames. I can tell. I can
Oh,
tell. And you get
100%.
some more vitamins because the milk doesn't have any vitamins, right?
100%.
It's a very practical way of approaching the breakfast.
Bro, but now I want to know the last question because now it
Okay.
only has to be the worst. But if you're
You
giving me
might
something now which is actually cute, I'm like, wow, fuck you.
could be. Because you only have one left,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, this taps into a conversation we had like 2 days ago. She's a 10, but she loves to go FKK camping. For people who are not from Germany, FKK is like the nude beach, the nude camping.
Well, fuck me, because that's actually not that bad. Well, I guess it's a one.
Okay, but you
It's
have
a
to put
one
it
for
at
the
the one now.
FKK. Sorry. Sorry, I guess I
I
gotta make my
mean, we got
choices. I
it, bro.
gotta
We
have
got
my
your ranking
priorities
now. We
right
got
now.
your ranking now. But to be real, you would have not put
Actually,
FKK camp, the nude camping. You would have not put on the
no.
one. You would have put on another. Okay, nice, cool. We learned
Like
that.
there's things that I care. There's things that I care about, and there's things that I not so much care about. Like if somebody likes to be like express herself, and show her body, and just be around other people who do the same thing, cool, cool for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, thumbs
Nice.
up. You know, some
And
people
you would
like
then
going
just
skiing,
chill
other people like.
around. You would chill around with the RV at the camping spot, completely butt naked, running over there to the washroom and
So I think Mr.
because
Felix,
of
I think
her.
in one of our next episodes, we should talk about your phobia when it comes to going to the sauna. Don't you think? Don't you think we should lift a
I
little bit
love the
life
sauna.
on life on the
I love the
topic?
sauna.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just don't go butt naked, but I love the sauna. Okay, but that's a topic we can touch on another episode. Tim, it was a pleasure. Thank you for making the Legendary 5 a debut with me. I hope we can do the Legendary 5 again in the future because it's hella fun. But I want to thank you for having me on. And yeah, last words go
Bro,
to you, I
okay,
think.
so
You're the host.
I wanna give the last words to you, but I want you to finish this episode like I usually do, because I always say then thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't yet, make sure to like and subscribe this podcast, leave a review, and then is always the very famous one, and I want you to say that. And until then, see you in the next one. Okay, so I want you to finish that off because from my part, thank you, Felix, for coming in. Thank you for spending an awesome an hour 40 minutes. It's officially the longest podcast we had, like I had so far on here. I hope you guys enjoyed, everyone listening and watching this. And yeah, man, Felix, the last words go to you now.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for viewing. Make sure to subscribe. I said this now the fourth or the fifth time. And what else? That's it for today. See you in the next one. I'm so
Yeah, okay,
bad.
we
I am
definitely have
so
to train on
bad.
this one. Okay, so with this being said, guys, let's wrap this up. Thank you all for tuning in, and see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace out.